Okay, welcome everybody. I'd just like to thank you so much for turning up for this call today. And I'm going to be talking about how Leanstack can help you win the £10,000 startup race. I do need to tell you that we have another call coming up soon, next week on Tuesday. I think it's actually I think that date might be wrong. I think maybe I'm sorry, it is the 17th. I'm thinking about the 14th of June. Yeah, so Tuesday, the 17th of May, I'm going to be talking about the hackathon that we're going to be running through Leanstack, how that can help you to win the £10,000 startup race and also win some extra money because we have put a £5,000 prize pot into the hackathon. So if you want to have a shot at winning £5,000, you need to take part in the hackathon. So that's on Tuesday, same time, 7:30. I just like to start off with my why, or the reason, the way I look at the world. I kind of see myself as Morpheus looking for Neos, right? And I think that people on this call, some of the entrepreneurs can make a massive difference in their business with what they're trying to do. If you've ever seen the movie The Matrix, you know about the blue pill and the red pill. The red pill is for those adventurous entrepreneurs who are prepared to wake up out of their slumber, wake up out of the stupor that the dominant entrepreneurial mindset has kind of closeted people in and prevents them from being successful. I would like to say that one of my favorite quotes is by Earl Nightingale. Okay, so what he says is that success is a progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So what this means is that you just need to be making progress. Yeah, if you're making incremental progress in building your startup, you're a success. It's only when you stop making progress, or you kind of start to go down what I call the failure curve, you actually, for one reason or another, obviously COVID has been a bad time for people that haven't been able to make much money or sell things, or there's been all sorts of difficulties. And so people perhaps haven't been going up all the time. But it's like a plane or a rocket flying, yeah? As long as your plane is going up when it's meant to, then your flight is a success. Obviously, if the plane comes down when it's not meant to, that's not a success. So one of the reasons that we're running this program or running this competition is to help entrepreneurs overcome one of these problems, one of these blue pill problems. And that is, the trouble is you think you have time. Time is your enemy as an entrepreneur. Yeah? And so the smart entrepreneur will try to learn from other people's mistakes to save time rather than learn from their mistakes, because that takes a long time. And if you're building a startup, making mistakes can be fatal. And this is the chart of all the common experience entrepreneurs have in Y Combinator. A lot of them are very excited at the beginning that, the tech crunch of initiation, the novelty wears off, and then they're in the trenches, it's like hard to try to acquire customers, hard to try and get revenue. And that's very often when startups fail. Generally, startups fail when people give up, or a competitor comes along, or something else drastic happens to the startup. But we don't want you to become one of these statistics. We want you to become one of the success stories. One of the other scary statistics is that if you want to raise investment for your startup, the odds are even worse. Only 1% of the entrepreneurs who try to raise investment will be successful. Okay, so 100 apply, let's say, to do the online thing for an angel syndicate or VC. 25, if they've done the research, get to screening because they made sure they're a good fit with a thesis. 7 get to pitching, and 2 of them perhaps do a good pitch. They understand what the investor's looking for, so they get to negotiating the term sheet, and 1 gets an investment deal. Now, this is not just James saying this is how it is. This is based on a report by the World Bank and the Kaufman Foundation. They've analyzed the stats for these things, okay? I'd just like to tell you a story just to help us understand this. Recently, I was in Morocco, started off in Marrakesh, and I rode my motorbike all the way down to the Anti-Atlas Mountains and ended up in Western Sahara, a place called Samara. And I was plotting my route back, and I was thinking I want to go this very remote route here on the right-hand side. This is one of the old Paris-Dakar pistes, the racetracks, as they call them. So I'd ridden my motorbike down from Tantan down to Smara, stayed the night here, and then I set out and I put it into my sat nav, so I knew exactly where I was going. And I had a good time. I ended up on this amazingly flat lake, and these pillars of stone are actually the route, the Paris-Dakar Mounds, quite famous if you're into riding off-road, doing rallies and stuff. So it was very cool. This is perhaps when my throat got a bit fried. It was very cool to be out here on my own, in a motorbike, riding around this flat ground. But very often, well, very soon, the conditions got worse. And as you can see, it's lots of sand. And I'm like, oh, okay. It was actually getting quite physical at this point. And then I came across this riverbed, this what you call a sandy ood. And I could see all these tracks, where people have gone through the sand before. And so I thought, okay, this is the way the path is leading. This is the way I need to go. But within a second, I had fallen off my bike. And you can see that in the sand here, there's quite a bit of disturbance because my leg was actually trapped under the motorbike. Luckily, I had serious motocross boots on, otherwise my ankle could have been hurt. But it wasn't a very pleasant experience. I had to take all my gear off, and I had to push and try and get the bike to go through the sand. Eventually, I did make it to the other side, and this is me having a rest. It's quite hot and quite a scary ordeal. I did have some emergency procedures in place. If I had broken my leg, I could have called a helicopter to take me home because I'd paid extra for the insurance. But later on, when I came back, I was reading the route and I was plotting it on the map. And I was reading the guidebook. I got this guidebook. He had a guy who actually inspired. He was the advisor to Ewan McGregor, and he wrote this book, Morocco Overland, and this is where all the routes are in the book. And I was reading the book again, and he tells the story of when he came across this oud, and a local Arab had told him an alternative route. And so what he did was, instead of going through the sandy river, the dry riverbed, he actually went over the hill and avoided the worst of the sand. And this struck me. It's an analogy for entrepreneurs. Very often, the common route, the path that we think is the most frequented, is the best path. But in actual fact, it can end in a problem, right? And so what I'd like to share with you today, that there is an alternative, and what I'm going to be talking about, or trying to help you to understand, is the shortcut to avoid the sand, to avoid running out of energy, running out of money, being bogged down in the sand. You can actually move quickly if you apply the principles we're going to be talking today. A lot of startups fail because they're kind of going around in circles. Round and round in circles, building, perfecting, and they never actually leave the roundabout of perfectionitis, and that's where they spend most of their days. Ash Moria on Leanstack, this is one of his programs. He kind of has articulated this is plan A, and go around in circles, not really knowing what we're doing until we get to a plan that works. And so this is what Ash would like to say. Okay, so there is a path through the maze if you know the secret, if you know the ability, if you have the mindset. If you've taken the red pill, okay, I'm not going to go down the route that all the other entrepreneurs go. I'm going to reduce the chance that I'm going to be one of those startup fatalities. I don't want to be a startup zombie either. I need to find the path. I want to find the quickest path that's going to save me time, money, and energy, and increase the chances of success. And I would like to propose to you that this is the path. Okay, so for those of you who have registered your interest in the £10,000 startup race, we ask you to sign up immediately after you've registered. We ask you to sign up with Leanstack. Some of you have done that. and then learn the startup secrets. I'm going to be talking about some of them today. Model your business, use a lean canvas, take part in the hackathon to try and recruit people into your team if that's what you want to do, or join somebody else's team if you think they're really exciting to you. Build a minimum revenue product, and then take part in the startup race. Work out how to generate more money, outperform other people, and win. Yay, £10,000. Now, of course, if you do win, then your business will have made tremendous progress in a very short period of time. And you will get some free publicity as a result of that, which will help you raise investment in the future, perhaps get more customers. And I should say that we do have a number of angel investors who have signed up to observe, the participants in this race, and that's part of our model, is that we want some angel investors to find good entrepreneurs who can execute and sell. So sign up on Leanstack. The time to do that is now if you've not already done it. Some people have been on Leanstack for a few months, so you could say that they have an advantage. If you want to reduce that advantage and increase your chance of winning, get busy on Leanstack. So we have our team building hackathon on the 27th of May, and then the startup race begins on the 14th of June. And you have until the 24th of December to outperform all the other entrepreneurs. But the winner will get £10,000 for Christmas. Yay! Just in time for Christmas, £10,000 in the bank. That'll be a very nice Christmas present for your startup. Okay, so just to articulate this in a different way, we like to use this kind of pyramid. So the lean canvases is the foundation on which your business is going to rest. The traction roadmaps is the next step. The team building hackathon is the next step, and then the £10,000 race. So we're still kind of at the bottom here. I'm trying to, we're running this event, we're recording it so that everyone who wants to take part can have the same understanding and getting fit, as it were, in a lean startup entrepreneur, just to understand the principles in which everything else rests upon. So this requires you to spend some time thinking about your business. And then we move into the team building hackathon. This is where you win part of that, the £5,000. And then we have the £10,000 race, as it were, and the winner. Now, as I hinted at the beginning of the call, it's not necessarily going to be a picnic. Okay, the £10,000 startup race is for ambitious, competitive entrepreneurs who are on a mission to try to do something noble. As I said before, I'm looking for neos, entrepreneurs. Neos who can actually control, have a special gift that they can manifest to make the world a better place. Okay, now this is a mock-up of what the league table might look like. So when you're actually in the £10,000 startup race, we're going to be having a league table that looks something like this, and it'll be updated on a weekly basis. Now, as you can see, the people at the top have got kind of cool names, Ubermensch or Tool Pop, whereas the people at the bottom are kind of called Flim Flam or the Numpties. Numpties is a good Scottish word. I don't know how many people know about the Numpties. But the idea is that each week these positions will change. So Stefan Zennstrom, the CEO of Ubermensch, his previous position was 22. So in a week, he was able to go from position 22 to position number 1. Sarah Kennedy of Tool Pop. Now these are all made up, right? I had quite a bit of a laugh making up these names of these startups and CEO, and they're all fictional. Hopefully nobody has these names. Well, if they do, it's unintended. So Sarah Kennedy, she was number 1 last week, and she's been knocked down to number 2. And as you can see, the arrow is red. The arrow going up is orange, because orange is the color of entrepreneurship. Red is the color of, I'm not number 1 anymore, or I've been knocked down. Anyway, you can imagine Sarah Kennedy is going to be thinking, I was number 1. I want to be number 1 again. What can I do to be number 1 again? And she'll be thinking outside of the box and coming up with some, crazy PR stunts, or, finding some way within the rules and regulations of the £10,000 startup race to get back to number one. And this is the whole principle. Necessity is the mother of invention. So what we're doing is we're creating these conditions of necessity, right? You want to be number one. You want to win the startup race. You're going to be thinking new thoughts that you wouldn't otherwise think to be number one. Okay, and ultimately, even if you're number one for a long period of time and you don't necessarily win, your business will be in a far better position than it was previously. Yeah, you'll have made much more progress. I should say that in the last race that we ran last year, it actually ended in April 2020, just as COVID was coming along. And we had a favorite. So this guy, Edinburgh entrepreneur, he'd run a business before, and he had this really cool idea. He was trying to put the automate service that he was doing, put it onto the internet, like a web app. And he was number one for a long period of time. And then this young student actually picked him at the post at the last minute. This young student, Jonas, who was actually at the event in Edinburgh, he actually won the £1,000 startup race. That was just a test for us, an experiment we were running to see if our processes would work. It took a lot of time for me to manage the positions manually. This time with the £10,000 race, we're automating it. We're testing the automation. But anyway, there we go. This is what the weekly position will look like, and you'll be able to see where you are, and obviously think about, oh, okay, so I'm number 10. I'm in the Premier League, yay! So we have the divisions like in the football tables, right? We have the Premier League. Everybody's public. These are the heroes and the top performers of the startup race. If you're in the second division, third division, whatever, we might not necessarily make that public. We don't want to embarrass anybody. But if you're in the Premier League, then that's something to be proud of, and something to use to try to persuade your friends and family to buy your product or your services or whatever else you're doing. So in some ways, you can actually crowdsource the £10,000 startup race. Yeah, if you can say, "Hey, I'm taking part in this competition. Either buy my service or tell other people to buy it and help me out, help me to win," that'd be great. Okay. Right then. So here we have the races that we've been running. The £1,000 startup race, that was the test that we did last year. And now we're moving on to the £10,000 startup race, which is going to start on the 14th of June. And there are going to be a number of angel investors who are going to be watching the performance. So if you want to raise investment, this is a great opportunity for you to impress them and maybe get investment at the end. For the £300,000 startup race, we're hoping to partner up with some VCs. And again, there'll be a winning prize. So the winner of the £300,000 startup race, that'll be next year, will get a £300,000 investment deal. Now, I should say that this race, even if you don't win this race, is a good primer for you to go to the next one. So when you enter the £300,000 startup race, you'll understand how it works, and you'll have kind of gone through an experience that will set you up for success for the £300,000 race. And then we're going to be doing a £1 million startup race. But this will be a global competition with entrepreneurs from around the world. It's cool that we have entrepreneurs from around the world taking part in this one. But this will be global, and the prize will be a £1 million investment deal. As I said before, there'll be a whole bunch of investors, angel investors, watching to see who is taking part, because it's what people do rather than what they say. We believe is really useful for an entrepreneur to identify a good team to invest in. So yeah, that's the plan. And then we'll do a £1 million starter race every year, maybe a couple more, depending on how much time Mike and I have got to manage this whole process. Okay, but I'd just like to come back a moment to help you to understand that, to reinforce the point Ash Moria makes, speed of learning is a new unfair competitive advantage, okay? Unfair advantage. So if you outlearn the competition, if you build what customers want, you stay relevant to your customers, grow your business model, then you can you can beat the competitors. So the person that's going to win the £10,000 startup race is a person. There's always a price to be paid. If you want to win anything, it's the person who invests the most time and energy into the process that wins. I took part in many competitions, public speaking competitions, and pretty much always the winner was the person that wanted to win, right? The person who decided that they were going to invest the most time and energy preparing, practicing, thinking it through. They actually won, right? There's a price to be paid for success. And you need to have the attitude of like Will Smith. This is what he used to say years ago before the Oscars. Yeah, he would outwork anybody. Nobody would work harder than him. So the winner of this £10,000 startup race will probably be the person that works the hardest. Okay. Now the psychology behind this is actually a physics, not a philosophy, a physics theory or a physics principle. Anyway, a body will continue to move in the same direction unless an outside force acts upon it. Pretty much this is the normal journey of an entrepreneur. They're doing their own thing. But if you take part in our startup race, then we're kind of providing this energy, this orange entrepreneurial color arrow, this force, this energy is going to change direction and to help you to go in, hopefully, in the direction you want. I think it's important to understand that everything is in balance in our life. Everything is a state of homeostasis. And this image is meant to type an attempt to demonstrate that. And so the weight you are, the fit, how fit you are, how much money you have, all these things are kind of like in balance. And if you want the situation to change, we need to have something to help us, okay? Because we only ever do what we want to do. If we only ever want to watch television, that's what we'll do. If we want to get fit, that's what we'll do. If we want to polish a turd, pardon the French, that's what we'll do. If we want to work hard and earn lots of money, that's what we'll do. And I think it's useful to remember that there is a barrier. Okay, for when Neo was in the Matrix, there was a barrier he had to cross. When Harry Potter, who was also a hero, there was a barrier that Harry Potter had to break through in was it Pancras? Platform 8 3/4, I think, some train station anyway, in London. There's always a barrier that we need to cross through, and we need to think, okay, how can I break through the barrier? And it's useful to just acknowledge the fact that there is a barrier. Yes, like there's homeostasis. I need to actually do something different if I want to win the £10,000 startup race. And part of this barrier is to recognize that the business plan and the idea of waterfall development of analyze, plan, execute is out of date. Yeah, that's something the Russians have done, 5-year business plans. I mean, we ask people to do 5-year business plans just because, you know, at some point your plan is going to become updated. Yeah, reality is going to help you to it's like the success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. You need to have a goal that you're either beating or not beating. Anyway, the new way is to use business models, and this is where the Leanstack comes into, okay? And so you do continuous analyze, plan, execute, or build, measure, learn. So you model, you prioritize your riskiest assumptions, and you test them, and then you get this clarity. So you have this fast revving approach to building your startup, okay? So the idea is that you can break through this ceiling. You can overcome the thought, but I can't make any money until I finish building my thing. That's a philosophy that's going to prevent you from winning the startup race, because you'll never be finished building your thing. Yeah, perfectionitis, procrastination is one of those curses of entrepreneurship. You haven't got enough time to be bogged down by that. So the idea instead, as you can see, that arrow has moved up. Yeah, I can sell an hour of my time. Some of you have skills, assets, experience that you could just sell an hour of your time. You've got a minimum revenue product, right? You can just say, pay me an hour, £100 an hour, £200 an hour. Actually auction your time to see who'll pay you the most money. You don't have to have an app. You don't need to have a WYSIWYG or whatever. You can actually just sell an hour of your time and start generating revenue in the starter base. Or you can even pre-order. You can sell a pre-order. A number of years ago, an American entrepreneur was coming along to my meetup groups, and he created an app. He was building an app, and he said to people, "Hey, if you pre-order my app, you can get a 50% discount for life. Just pay £80." And he made £5,000. Yeah, people just paid him 80 quid so they could get a 50% discount. Wasn't too much money, 80 quid. Yeah, maybe it's going to happen, maybe it's not. But I like the idea of a discount for life, 50%. So you sold a pre-order. How easy is it to do that, right? You just go to your website, you've got a Stripe account that's connected to your bank account, and you have this offer, and you just ask people to pay you money, even though you've not built anything yet. And this is what Ash Maurya teaches. If you're in the Scaling Lean workshop last week, Ash Maurya says, the way to be successful is that you build a demo, then you sell it, and then once you've sold it, you build it. I was in a joint venture inside a circle of some internet marketing experts, 10 years ago, and they would do that. Okay, so they would create a website, and there would be this awesome program of how to lose weight or how to improve your relationships, and then they would put it out there and to see if anybody bought it. Only if people bought it would they actually start to build the program, right? So this idea, this philosophy has been around for a while. Here's something I kind of came up with in my journaling, and this is the homeostasis, the balance idea again. So we have drivers, okay, so I want to improve my fitness because I want to ride my motorcycle in the desert, but then there are constraints. So my knees were aching a bit because I could do with losing a couple of pounds or stone. So this is the balance, right? So my life finds me here. If I want to improve the situation, either I improve my drivers, so I get more drivers to push the point up, or I reduce the constraints, the things that are holding me down. Okay, so if I fixate or I focus on I'm going to be going to Morocco again, or I just, summer's here, I can ride my motorbike more, I can move this point here. So I can actually move from here to here to affect a change in my life. Okay, so what we're trying to do is help you as an entrepreneur understand this. So either reduce the constraint or increase drive, all right? Now, just really want to come back to the entrepreneurial method again on Leanstack. So we're giving you the opportunity to move, okay, so you're at this position now, and we're giving you this energy. We're reducing these constraints. You don't have to write a business plan. You don't have to create this amazing thing to start making money. Those constraints are gone. And we're trying to provide you with energy. Yeah, we're providing you with the resources on Leanstack. You can benefit from other people's, the smartest people in the world. You can benefit from their experience, their knowledge, and their motivation to want to help you. So your position can move from here to here. Quite amazing opportunity. So you start with a business model, identify what's riskiest, test and refine. Very simple. Now, a number of you have signed up for Leanstack, so thank you for doing that. You'll have come across the storyboard of Steve and Larry. So Steve and Larry got struck with a big idea at the same time. But Larry has been able to achieve much more success than Steve. He's building his product, he's got his team, he's making money, where Steve is still in his house and he's having to freelance to support himself. Okay, so Steve is the artist, he has this build first mentality, takes big risks. Yay, in 5 years' time I might sell something. Falls in love with the solution and thinks the solution is the product. But Larry, he's the innovator, okay? So he's innovating how he goes about building his company. He puts the customer first. He talks to his customers. He removes the biggest risks. Bit by bit, he tackles the biggest risks, okay? It's like a doctor practicing triage, which is a great philosophy. Loves the customer's problem, talk to the customers, make sure that he's solving the customer's problem, and he understands that the business model is the product. And here's the business model. Here's the lean canvas that Ash Maurya invented. And this is the order in which you should go. You should focus on your customer segments, then the problem, then the revenue stream, how much money you can make, and then the solution. For some reason, number 4 is missing. That's strange. Anyway, this is where you are able to get your business model on one page. So we've removed the constraint of writing a business plan. Okay, it takes you 20 minutes to do a lean canvas and try to get your thinking on one page. And after that, there is the customer factory. And this helps you to understand how much money you can make in your business, how easy it is to make money. Okay, so here's a bigger picture of that. So it helps, and this is based on the pirate metrics that Dave McClure popularized. Okay, you got to acquire people, you need to activate them, you need to get revenue from them, retention and referral, AARRR. And so Ash Moria, he breaks it down to help you to understand what this looks like. Okay, so this example wants to earn 10 million in a year, selling a product at £200 a month, lifetime of 2 years, acquisition rate 10%, conversion rate 10%. You need to attract 571 new visitors every day in order to reach your goal. 417 customers paying you £10 million. And as you can see, this occurs over time. Now, this is for a normal lean startup entrepreneur. And as you can see, this is over like a 3-year period. If you're going to take part on the startup race, you're not a normal entrepreneur. Okay, you're an extraordinary entrepreneur who understands that speed is an unfair advantage, moving faster than anybody else, embracing these principles, investing the time and energy to do the right thing at the right time. But obviously you can win £10,000. Obviously you will make more progress than you would otherwise imagine. And so it's a win-win for everybody. And so, yeah, we hope to, instead of taking 6 months to get to these different stages, we hope that you can do it in 3 months or 2 months. Have to see how it goes. So in a snapshot, the Leanstack, how it will help you to win the £10,000 startup race. It helps you to focus on what's riskiest and build customers before product. Okay, so you do your canvas, you got your goal, you understand how easy it is for you to make money, and in doing your traction roadmap. Okay, you might think, oh, hold on a minute, the price point of let me just go back to that. The price point of £200 a month isn't high enough. Okay, you might actually have a £50 a month price point. You might think, oh, I need to increase that because I've looked at this chart and it's telling me I need to move more quickly. So this tool on Leanstack will help you to understand how to make more money more quickly. Now, of course, you can always ask your customers how much would they pay for your thing, or you could ask them, well, what is the consequence of you not paying this money? And obviously that's different for lots of people. In some people's industry, if someone breaches or breaks the law because they're exploiting a customer, they could have to pay millions of pounds, right? So you're going to prevent your customers from having to pay millions of pounds. They might pay you £1,000 a month. Why not? It's understanding your customer's problem and just articulating it in a way that really is attractive and appealing to them. Okay. So here we have the various stages of building a successful business. So problem, solution, fit. This could take 3 months or so. Well, Ashmore has got it 12 months here, but it doesn't have to be that long. You could do these things much more quickly, and you could even achieve 10 million revenue in 1 year if you apply these principles. So for those of you who love the Lean Startup Build, Measure, Learn, here is a reminder of what that looks like. So you have an idea, so you build something, a minimum viable product, maybe it's some code or maybe it's just a demo. You measure success, how many people are visiting your website, how many people are buying. You get that data and then you learn. You say, oh, okay, well, let's put our price up to see if it affects sales or not. Obviously, if you put the price up and the sales drop off, then you put the price back down to the previous level, or you find some other way of articulating the value proposition. Okay, I'd just like to show you this image here. This is based on it's called the law of distribution, or the bell curve, and I have used other slides to try to articulate this. So if we think about trees, okay, some trees are really small and they'd be over here. Some trees are really tall, they'd be over here. Most trees are about the same height, so they would be here. And you could argue this is the same with money, right? Some people are really poor, some people are really rich. Most people kind of earn about, well, most people, so maybe it's not a great analogy. But anyway, I've applied this to entrepreneurs, okay? So if you're going in the right direction and you're focused, that's what I call a finisher. If you're focused but you're going in the wrong direction, that's a failure, which isn't very nice. If you're unfocused and you're in the wrong direction, like I was in a previous life when I was a crazy biker, I was just this drifter. So going in the right direction with unfocused mind, you kind of a starter, and you just start one idea after another and never really get anywhere. Just love to start things rather than finish them. Okay, so how do we know which quadrant you're in? So if you suffer from innovator's bias, you fall in love with the solution and, oh, I must build this thing. You know, I have this build it and they will come mindset, or I'm going to perfect my product or my service. This is what I call the failure quadrant. Whereas conversely, if you validate your hypothesis, if you create a demo, if you sell it and then build it, this is the success quadrant. Now, I want you to be in the success quadrant, but ultimately, which quadrant you're in will be revealed by what you do the most. And in the previous startup race that we ran, we had Mike, who we thought was going to win, but then there was Jonas, who ultimately went on to win. But there was a whole bunch of people who were stuck in this failure quadrant here. They were building and perfecting and never really did anything. We also had two guys who were complete zombies and never got started. And they were kind of like in the starter quadrant. But ultimately, I'm telling you, right, I'm making it clear because I want you to be in the success quadrant. And so, as Ash Moria says, build a demo, sell it, and then build it. Okay, so just a refresher of what the £10,000 startup race looks like. It's a debt. You need to sign up on Leanstack right now if you've not done so. You need to get ready for our team building hackathon on the 27th of May. And if you want to take part in the race, you do need to participate in that, because that's when you'll get access to all some of the core principles that are going to be happening in the race when it starts on the 14th of June. Okay, so that's pretty much it for me. So please do accept my invitation when I send that out for the hackathon, how our hackathon will help you win £10,000 race. Okay, so that's the end of my presentation. As a natural opportunity to answer any questions that people might have. Or you can send me an email and we can ask them offline. You don't have to ask them publicly if you don't want to do that. Have I missed anything, Mike, do you think?
No, I think that was pretty good. But yeah, might be some questions from the audience.
Cool. I see there's a few things in chat. You can put your question in chat as well. Okay, so there are a few questions. So someone said, how will this relate if you have a niche product market? Well, that's actually really good. Having a niche product market is better because you spend less money on marketing. You're very focused and you're able to get more, your customer acquisition costs will be lower if you have a niche product. Yes, somebody else, is it free to enter? Actually, I think this race is, when we do the next one, it will be £100 entry fee, but for the moment, it's all free. Is the startup race applicable to service-based businesses as well as product-based business? Absolutely. Service-based business, obviously you need to think, how can I scale that? Depends on the price point, of course. If you are selling a service that's going to prevent your customers having to pay hundreds of millions of pounds in fines because they like the fashion industry, Gucci were fined hundreds of millions of pounds because of one of their adverts was racist. Yeah, so if you're helping companies uh, embrace diversity and charging them for the for the pleasure of doing that, you could win the startup race with a service company. It just depends on the value proposition. Obviously, it's harder to automate at scale a service-based business, but you can just look at the other service businesses out there as examples. So requirements enter the competition. That's a good question. Well, we want people to. This is the toughest thing. Everybody needs to be to make it fair. We want people to be at the same kind of starting point. And so we thought that if you have less than £100 revenue, then everybody is at the same starting point. Now, some people are running a business, but they're going to be doing something new. Okay, so they see an opportunity for them to start offering a similar service in a different marketplace. So they're actually going to be starting a new business to do that. A number of people on here are doing new businesses as well. So hopefully that's going to be okay for you. But pretty much that's the requirements are that it needs to be a new business or less than £100 revenue, and you need to go through the hackathon so we can give you the access to all the resources that you'll need. And I would suggest, well, you need to sign up with Leanstack as well, because our hackathon is going to be taking place on Leanstack. Now, the other thing is you need to have a UK bank account, and it needs to connect with QuickBooks and LivePlan. Okay, so we're going to give you access to LivePlan, and this is how we're going to automate. Actually, no, LivePlan is the next one. Sorry, but you do need to connect your bank account, I think, with something called Friendly Score,
Right.
which helps us to understand how much money you're making each week. Okay, is the hackathon mandatory? Yes. You don't necessarily need to build your team or join somebody else's team, but you do need to go through that process, because that's where we're going to explain how everything works. And it's an online hackathon, which means you don't have to come to Edinburgh. You can just do it from Zoom. Okay, another question. If I have a chance to build a product and the service from the same idea, must I have to create 2 demos or MVPs? No, I mean, I don't know why. Okay, so you build a product and a service, 2 demos. Well, I think, I mean, what I like to teach is that, and we'll be going into this in more detail in the hackathon. Imagine a continuum. So you have your DIY mindset, and then you have the done-for-you service or done-for-you mindset, like weight loss, okay? So people want to lose weight. The DIY mindset is, I'm going to cut out the beer and the chocolate and the donuts, all right? Up from that, you might have another service that should go to the gym. At the top, the ultimate done-for-you is liposuction. Okay, so you have this automated product. Hey, this is how you lose weight. This is the Habit app or whatever. So that's a product. And then you've got the service where you go into hospital and the doctor sucks all the fat out of your body. So there you go from products. Products are generally DIY tools, but the service is where somebody does it for you. So hopefully that answers that question. Okay, third-party program, connect bank accounts to. Good question, thank you. So we're going to be using Friendly Score. Friendly Score is approved by the FCA, and it uses open banking. It's pretty much, when we do our £300 startup race, we're going to be connecting Xero and QuickBooks to LivePlan. So that's going to be that's going to help us to do it internationally. But for the UK race, and so that is the requirement. Another requirement: you need to be in the UK for Friendly Score to work, unfortunately. So, okay, great questions. So we're going to finish at 8:30. So we've got about 6 minutes. If anybody else would like to submit a question, or Mike fill a gap in my. Lunaire, you have a question.
Yes, I do. So I was just wondering that, so for example, when we start on the hackathon day, when we present our decks with the other people to recruit people, one startup could do a lot of marketing and they acquire a lot of customers by investing a lot. So is it mandatory to have that acquisition cost from the revenue we are generating, or it could be a loan from the director? Because it's unfair, isn't it? If somebody is putting £100,000 to acquire customers and then generating a revenue of, I don't know, 50,000, but still above than every other person on the race, then how does that going to be calculated?
Nobody's ever asked me that question before. It's a very good question. I would say that other people, perhaps who've been thinking about their business idea, might also, you could argue, have an unfair advantage. But I think the point that you're making is more material. So what you're essentially saying is that people have got more money to spend on marketing.
Yeah.
Well, they are taking a risk, though, aren't they? Because they don't know if their business is going to be successful. And I think ultimately it comes down to quality over quantity. And one of the things that one of the things that Leanstack will help you to do is to validate your channels. Yeah. Now you could spend £100,000 in the wrong channels, and this is a problem with marketing. People spend lots of money, but they don't know which dollar is actually the useful one. So they could actually get the same result with £1,000. Yeah, and they're just wasting the other £99,000. So I would say that it comes down to your entrepreneurial smarts, how well you validate your channels. And you can validate a channel with a little bit of money, 50 quid, 100 quid. Just you can run a Google AdWords campaign, you can run a Facebook campaign, you can, it's free to advertise on Twitter. You just need to use some sort of automation system. So I would say that if you've not validated your channels and you're going to invest £100,000 in your marketing, then just give me the money, right? And I'll do it for you.
The only reason I asked that, because I just thought that if somebody has that, I don't have it. I am totally going to work with my organic traction, but I also understand that the amount which my product's going to charge is lower than my competition, or maybe some people in this race have even lower charges for their single license or single service.
Yeah.
So,
well, I would say that in this competition, well, in the future competitions, let's say in the £300,000 startup race, we're going to have investors who are going to be watching the performance. Okay. Now, if you can generate a significant amount of money very efficiently and effectively, let's say you can generate £100,000 revenue with £50,000, and somebody else generates £100,000 with 200. Sorry, I'm getting a bit lost in my analogy here. The more efficient you are at generating the revenue and the less money you waste on marketing, the more likely you are to get an investment deal.
Indeed.
So just being lean and understanding, getting the maximum return on your investment, ROI on your marketing spend, is going to make it a more attractive investment proposition when we come to do when we have more angel investors taking part. It's like the Dragons. Sorry, it's like The Apprentice, or actually, it's a bit more like the X Factor. The winner got all the glory, but there was the the runner-up who got the best deal, who ended up having the best career. So it is. I'm not trying to put anyone off for winning, but you need to do the right thing, for the right reasons. And I would not advise anybody to throw lots of money in marketing, because there's a chance it could be inefficient. Anyway, it's a good question. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Okay, somebody's asking about Friendly Score. I think we are actually going to be paying for the service. We have a special deal with them. Somebody said, what is anyone else's business? Someone Martin is doing wheelchair imports. If your company is still in the validation process, can you still join? Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So the idea is that there's over 6 months. Okay, so ideally you'll be able to incorporate a company when the competition starts on the 14th of June. But the key date is the 24th of December, right? So that's the most important date. You need to have generated more revenue by that date. Okay, I think I can't see any more questions here. So we're 1.5 hours, 8:30. So unless somebody has a desperate question they want to ask, you can send me an email personally, or Mike. My email is james@thestartuprace.com. If you want to have a call, arrange a call to chat through it some more on one-to-one, happy to do that too. And I will send out my email and some details on how you can arrange a call on the back of this video. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. I really do appreciate it. It's nice to see your faces and have your questions. I'm gonna go voice rest now, I think. Before I could kill over. All right. So hopefully I'll see you all again on the what did I say the date was?
Hackathon?
Pardon?
The hackathon, yeah?
Yeah, for the
The
hackathon.
The 17th. Right?
17th of May. Yeah, 7:30, Tuesday next week. Hopefully I'll see you all again then. But thank you so much. You're all awesome. Okay, see you later.
Thank
Bye.
you, James. Thank you, Mike.
Get well soon.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.